let's talk about the 49ers plan for Trey Lance. We haven't talked about Trey Lance yet. We're 40 minutes in. We didn't mention his name. It's been bamboozling. What is Kyle Shanahan planning here? Because the messages are mixed. You make a big trade, then you put him on the back burner. I think I figured it out. Tell me what you think. I think it's real simple. I think Kyle Shanahan feels like people kind of forced his hand a little bit this offseason. You're not allowed to take Mac Jones. The media said it. The fans said it. Maybe people in the organization said it. Who knows how Kyle really felt? I'm guessing he liked Mac Jones. Mac Jones is good. He knows what he's looking at. Everyone said you can't take Mac Jones, and so he pivots and takes Trey Lance. And now everyone's saying you got to play Trey Lance. I think he's tired of people telling him what to do, and he realizes that he has a contract extension through 2025, and he can legitimately sit Trey Lance as long as he freaking wants, just to spite everyone and continue to like win games with Jimmy. And when he plays Trey Lance will be his call. And he probably thinks like, I can't play Trey until he's legitimately better than Jimmy, which may never, ever happen in Kyle's eyes. So the plan for Trey is for him to sit a very long time. Now, Jimmy could get hurt and things could change, but I think the plan for Trey is indefinite sitting. And if he's never better than Jimmy, then so be it. I don't think Kyle cares. And because that's honestly, that's a Jed York problem at that point. And if Jed doesn't like it, they can do something about Kyle and Kyle land on his feet. I don't think he's tripping.
It's a catch-22, right? Like, he's not better than Jimmy, and you need him to be better than Jimmy, but in order for him to get better than Jimmy, he needs to play.
Right. And so the only way he would play is if Kyle was really invested in Lance, but it doesn't seem like he is. Like, it seems like he's like, well, whoever gives me the best chance to win this week is who I'm playing. Well, that's probably going to be Jimmy until Trey actually gets a chance to play and learn, it's going to be Jimmy. And the thing seems like when you draft Trey, you have to be committed to giving him playing time and going with the growing pains, and the Niners aren't committed to that at all. In fact, they're committed to the opposite of that, avoiding that. I think everyone's expecting that he's going to come in eventually and be Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes. And if he's not, I feel like what happened with Mahomes was by the end of that rookie season, in practice, everyone understood that's our best quarterback. Everyone knew it. If that's not happening on the 49ers, then the plan for Lance is for him to keep freaking sitting for a very long time.
And and I think he played the Chiefs had cinched up the playoff spot that year, so he played the final game and he looked good. The final game.
And then Alex Smith went and lost his playoff game, and boom.
Right.
Yep.
So, and I don't know that Lance is going to have the only way Lance would probably have this opportunity this year is if they're out of the playoffs.
Right.
Then he would have a game. Although I guess it's within the realm of possibilities where they could have guaranteed a wild card, and they don't have an opportunity to move up, so they're basically guaranteed the slot in that spot. So then they would have a meaningless game, but probably not going to happen.
Jared Cohn says you don't have to play to get better. Do you agree with Jared?
No.
You're a coach.
You got to play. I mean, in high school we have JV, we have freshman load for our younger kids,
so they can play.
In colleges, you've got full 100 such rosters where your backups are getting reps against full teams because you have those.
That's how Mac Jones got better, right?
Yeah, and I think he played the scout team, but then not just Mac Jones, but the backup corners, the backup defensive ends, the backup right guards. They're playing on second and third team units on those teams because they have like 100 plus. So it's not just like you're getting subbed in here, subbed in there. You're getting actual like full team reps,
right?
Just on a whole different team. And then in the NFL, there's only 50 something. Is it 50 with practice players? Is it 58? 50? Right. So there's not a whole lot of opportunity. And like, can you really get better at your job with just sitting there and reading about it? I don't think so.
And also, there's a difference between Mahomes and Lance. Like, Mahomes coming into the league was a very experienced college player who needed to learn the West Coast offense. He was coming from an air raid offense, which had never prepared a quarterback successfully for the NFL. So he had to learn stuff, how to take snaps from under center and all those procedural things, how to hear the play. That's not Lance. Lance is an inexperienced college quarterback who comes from a system that's very similar to this. He was under center. He heard the plays. He made adjustments at the line of scrimmage. He doesn't need to learn a whole new style of offense. He needs experience. And that was understood in his scouting report. Like whoever takes him needs to kind of be committed to playing him, giving him experience and riding with it, because what's he going to be if at 24 he hasn't played since that 1 year in college in D2? Like, how can you expect him to be good if he's just been sitting his whole life?
Yeah, and see, that's where in the offseason, if this doesn't materialize, in the offseason, it's going to be on the ownership, whether it's Jed or John, to sit down and be like, listen, if John is still there, Lynch is still there, Kyle's still there, what's your plan for Trey Lance? And I need to know, we've invested as an organization heavily on this kid. What's your plan for him?
But they've already probably had this conversation, and Jed's already been on the record saying if it takes 2 years, it takes 2 years. We've given him our blessing to have Jimmy Garoppolo play out his contract here and have Trey sit that long. They've said stuff like this. And so I think Kyle Shanahan really has the organization by the short hairs. If they get impatient with him at any point, he can go somewhere else, and it's their problem. And if they're not impatient, then he can take as long as he wants. Who cares? Probably didn't want Trey Lance anyway.
Maybe John needs to overrule his son and step in and say, "Hey, we don't have 2 years." It's just it doesn't make much sense, because what's the point of waiting for the whole point of getting Trey Lance is so that you have his rookie deal and you can load up your team. Trey Lance doesn't. The whole intention is like if you want to get that top level quarterback, but you could still win a lot of games if Trey Lance is at top level because you're paying him so cheap.
That's what we've been trying to explain to the 49ers for years, and they don't get it. Like, that's what we've been trying to explain. And the Niners are like, no. Like, Trey's going to be great, and we're going to make sure that we do when he plays, he's going to be great. You don't need a great quarterback. You're paying too much for a good quarterback, and when you finally get Trey Lance, you're going to be paying too much for him. Then what you want to do is have just someone who's outperforming his contract. That's all you need. That's all you need. A good quarterback outperforming his contract. That's what the Patriots have. But you have the most expensive quarterback room in the league. It's not a sustainable way to build a team. And so even if they're going to do the same thing that the Patriots did with Jimmy, have him on the bench for 3.5 years, but then instead of trading him, they're going to actually pay him. And then once again, you're going to be paying a guy way too much for something he hasn't proven, yada, yada, yada. The Niners always do it the wrong way.
The problem with that method, Grant, is the guy that was in front of Jimmy Garoppolo is
Tom Brady.
Yeah. Arguably,
but I mean, I think the Niners are stuck in they're stuck in like 2005. This is, again, it was Brett Favre in front of Aaron Rodgers, but let's keep this guy on the bench as long as possible. So when he comes in, he just kills it. I don't want him to come in looking shaky. When he comes in, he's going to kill it. Okay. But then maybe that works. Let's say it works. He sits for 3 years. He finally comes in 2024 and kills it the last 5 games like Jimmy did. Now what do? Now you pay him a bunch of money, and he's not cheap anymore, and you're in the same position you were in before. That's not what you're trying to do. But the Niners don't get that. The Niners are like, what do you mean? It worked for the Packers.
Wait, well,
that was pre-rookie wage.
You might be able to argue that they waited too long for
Rodgers. Yeah, probably. Of course, that's what I'm saying. Of course, they waited too long.
Do you think that Rodgers could, like, he needed 3 years to marinate?
And he was cheaper. And he was cheaper.
Right. Like, maybe you guys could have got another Super Bowl when you were paying him nothing and something a little bit more for Brett Favre. Didn't they only get didn't they get a second for Brett Favre?
Right. Something I forget. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
So the plan for Trey Lance is to sit him until he's no longer cheap. That's what I think. I don't think they're going to give up on him, but they're just going to sit him a really long time, just like the Patriots did, just like the Packers did. And it seems smart. In theory, it worked for Aaron Rodgers. The whole thing with the modern NFL is you have this loophole that shouldn't even exist of the rookie wage scale, and it really affects quarterbacks. Look at the Patriots. That's why they shouldn't have even traded up for Lance. You don't need to trade up. You don't have to spend 3 first-round picks to spend $8 million on a quarterback when you can get just as good of a quarterback at 12 and give him $3 million. That's what Patriots are showing everyone.
Or they should
Just
have
chill. There's a bunch of good quarterbacks out there. Just chill.
They should have just had the cojones to move on from Jimmy.
Yeah. Just stay at 12. Take Mac Jones or Justin Field, whoever's available. You think the Patriots were tripping if Mac Jones wasn't there at 15? They didn't care. Whatever. Oh well.
Right.
Say la vie. He was worth the 15th pick, nothing else. Sorry. We'll find another quarterback. We can get Cam Newton.
They had Cam Newton.
Doesn't matter.
He didn't lose.
As long as he's better than what we pay him, we're good. Because the rest of our team will be good. And they'll help him.